Hello, my fellow freaks and geeks. My name is Gulliver13, and yes, I'm aware that everyone has done a video on Mary Sue's, but a lot of them seem pretty one-sided. A long time ago, I shared this opinion, but since creating characters and having more experience in art and writing, as well as in life, these views have changed. For those who don't know, Mary Sue, as defined by Wikipedia, is, quote, a type of fictional character, usually a young woman, who is portrayed as unrealistically free of weaknesses. Originating in fanfiction, a Mary Sue is often an author's idealized self-insertion. Mary Sue stories are often written by adolescent readers, end quote. Although the definition is very loose and can apply to multiple things depending upon who you ask. As just stated by Wikipedia, many Mary Sues are actually made by young authors, but you can find many examples in mainstream media. Examples being Bella Swan, Rey from Star Wars, and even Superman or Batman. There are also multiple types of Mary Sues, such as blank slates, the hottest girl in the world who has no flaws, the one who always wins despite the odds, the jerk who is still praised, the world revolves around them, and the perfect partner. For the purpose of this video, we'll say the definition of a Mary Sue is a person who is very well liked, excels at everything without effort, is insanely attractive, has many admirers, is supposed to be just average, and the fate of the world may rest on their shoulders and their shoulders alone, and has no flaws. Now with this definition, there may be some characters that come to mind, which brings up the question if Mary Sues are inherently bad. Well, in my opinion, no. As stated before, many Mary Sues are made by young or inexperienced writers. I myself made a Mary Sue in middle school for a Hero Brian fanfic I wrote in the night. I don't even think I'm one of the best at character creation despite creating things for over 6 years. And there are times when people will call a character a Mary Sue just because they don't like said character. Many, myself included, think Bella Swan is a badly written character, so she's called a Mary Sue. Whether she is or not is up to the reader. Some people also forget that we use fictional worlds to escape our real one. Kratos being this all-powerful demigod who can kill almost anything isn't realistic, but that isn't why people like God of War. People like these games because of the story, the action, the characters, the setting, the exploration, and for some of those people, the gore. I am some of those people. People also need to realize that for many young writers, their Mary Sue may be a source of comfort. I remember in 7th grade, I was fairly insecure but didn't want to show it, so I kept it hidden until I wrote. I made so many self-inserts that had my more favorable traits. They were all pretty, smart, creative, unique, strong, and well-liked. It was nice for me to be able to escape my problems by creating a better me. Now, I don't feel the need to do that anymore, but I still love creating characters. So if anyone has a Mary Sue and is fine with it, keep at it. More power to you. But what about those of you who want to improve or quote-unquote fix your character? I personally think of the 3 F's when I create a character. Flaws, fears, and focus. These may sound simple, but all 3 can become very complicated. Let's start with flaws. Flaws, according to the Oxford Dictionary, are, quote, a fault or weakness in a person's character, end quote. Flaws usually fall into 3 categories: minor, major, and fatal. Minor flaws don't impact the story much, but are noticeable to the reader. These are often like little quirks that a character has, like nail biting or playing with their hair when nervous. A major flaw is much more noticeable and has an impact on the characters. A fatal flaw, as the name suggests, is a flaw that can bring a character's demise. Sometimes flaws can overlap. Maybe something that is usually a minor flaw ends up being a plot detail. And remember, flaws aren't solely negative. They just have to be an obstacle in the way of the story for your character. Second is fears. A lot of people put fears into the flaws category, but I like to put it in its own category. Some stories will use fear more than other stories. There's our obvious survival fears, such as our fear of dying. There's social fears, such as being unwanted. Then there's phobias, such as fear of heights. An important thing to remember is to think of a natural fear someone would develop after what happened in their past. Or sometimes someone may have a more irrational fear that seems silly but can add a lot of depth to their character. Maybe your character is afraid of water or roadkill. Third is focus. Obviously, you want the main characters to be the focus of the story, but writers also need to think about the world's focus. The world shouldn't revolve around the characters. It should feel like an independent factor in the character's journey. If there's a prophecy in the story, could it apply to someone else if the situation allowed for it? What are the world's governments like? Or, a more fun approach, what's the pop culture in this world? Even if you don't think these things will appear in the story, you can write them down somewhere. Sometimes remembering the world you've made makes it easier to write. And of course, my way isn't the only way. Share some of your recommendations in the comments down below. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!